film I'm analysing today is The Purge. It is rated as 15 because it can contain violence, sexual references, sexual imagery, or violence imagery. So the first thing we notice on starting the opening is that the score is in a major key. This is not conventional for a thriller, because conventionally thrillers have minor key score to create a dark and unsettling atmosphere. However, The Purge has gone unconventional. So the fonts we can see are in uppercase, bold, serif font, and are white. This, as we later on see, is so it blends more easily into the CCTV overlays and does not stick out like some credits do. It blends in, however, the position of the font makes for the audience to catch it and see it. So the first thing we see is a high-angled long shot of a CCTV camera. We can see this because from the position of the camera it looks like we're looking down like a CCTV camera, and this is also reinforced by the CCTV overlay which is put in post-production. So all of this together and the added effect of the grainy screen and different bits like that adds to the effect that we're a CCTV camera and the audience are watching it from the point of view of a CCTV camera. The score is still in a major key, which is confusing for the audience because we're seeing violence on the screen, however we're hearing a soft sound, so it can cause the audience to become confused and misled and have mixed emotions of how the opening's looking at violence. From this part of the first clip we can see that the costume is covering all their faces up, and we see this throughout the opening, that no faces are ever seen clearly. They're all either distorted or pixelated or covered up in shadows or by costume. This is so no identities are revealed and everyone stays hidden to suggest that there's more violence and everyone doesn't want to be seen and they're hidden behind, they don't want themselves to be seen. We just saw that the credit on the right hand side of the screen is following the same transaction flickering sort of motion which the CCTV camera follows as well, where it flickers and becomes more pixelated at different times and then becomes more clear and different bits like that. So this is another way it's blending it in and not being so obvious. However, it's still making itself stand out because it's doing it at different times and it's moving position during this. Throughout the opening so far we've seen it as being a mono colour scheme, and this shot enforces that strongly because everything in this shot is bleak. We can see that the street lamp or lamp light here would normally be an orange or a warm colour, whereas for now it's grey and bleak. The mono colour scheme throughout the opening gives it a cold and unsettling feeling because nothing's how we see it in everyday life. It's different, it's bleak, it's dark and cold. The only colours we generally see are bright oranges and different bits like that. This can promote the violence because of the orange we generally represent with either danger or fire, so we see it as definitely stereotypically linked to violence because it's something bad's happening. we can see that the transactions between the different cuts are quick and fast. This keeps the opening moving, but also puts back into the perspective of CCTV camera, as CCTV cameras would continually chop between, they wouldn't fade or crossfade between each other. The scene we've just paused on now is a different type of angle we're at for the CCTV camera. We're still a long shot, however we're more lower down and closer to the violence, so it's merging the audience with the violence more and pushing them to watch it and and be influenced by it. And here we've now got more of a eye line sort of angle, and the audience as a viewer being pushed into the scene more, and they're being brought down towards the violence. They're feeling more influenced by, more part of the scene, more merged into the opening. Throughout this scene we've seen different props used which stereotypically we link to violence and represent it. In this scene we've got the baseball bats, we've had the guns, we've had punch and physically hands on hands violence. All of this links back to violence, and the whole opening itself is pushing violence strongly towards the audience.
Mr. Falk?
Throughout the opening it was all done in mono colour scheme as well as low-key lighting, so these two combined together give this bleak and unsettling atmosphere on the audience, and this a cold atmosphere as well, because there's no depth to anything. It seems like there's no life. Throughout the whole opening there was only one track of score. There was no ambient sound, and there was no diegetic sound. This is unnatural and concerned and makes the audience feel uncomfortable, because generally if there was a gunshot we would hear the gunshot. Well, we don't in the opening, so it makes the audience feel on edge because they don't know why we can't hear it.